Shalom everyone to Living with the Times. This week's Parsha is Parsha Tzav. Tzav means command. It's the root of the word mitzvah, to command. In here, we see that God is telling Moshe to command the Kohanim and to teach them the service in the Mishkan, the tabernacle that was built in the desert. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of commandment, the mitzvot. In today's world, in the culture, the headspace, the worldview, especially of the Western world, the idea of command rubs people the wrong way. The idea is no one's going to tell me what to do. And the whole idea of 613 commandments for someone who's not on the inside of Jewish tradition, it just culturally kind of puts people off. The idea that there's a God who commands and we fulfill the commandments. But we see that there's another meaning for the word tzav, mitzvah. The root means to connect. It's one of the meanings of this word, tzav, to connect. And so what we will do right now is we're going to see what that means. How does the mitzvah connect us? So we are going to make a correspondence to the 5 levels of the soul. We're told that the soul has 5 levels. So we're going to start from, call it the lower soul, and that is the nephesh. The nephesh is sometimes called the animal soul. It's the part of the soul most attached to the body. And so on the level of mitzvah, doing a mitzvah connects us to the physical world. It connects us to the body because virtually all of the mitzvot are connected to a physical action, a physical object, or speech. And speech is considered an action. And so on the level of nefesh, the mitzvah connects us to this world, to the physical material world, and we do the mitzvah through physical acts with our body. Then, as it were, going up the ladder of the soul is the ruach. Ruach is usually translated as the spirit, and it is connected to the emotional part of a human being. So when we do a mitzvah, we don't do it coldly. It's supposed to awaken inspiration, love of doing the mitzvah, joy, the different emotions that we have are aroused through doing a mitzvah. So when we do a mitzvah, we don't do it ideally just through routine and rote action. We put our emotions into it, our love of doing the mitzvah, and the joy that we get from it. Then on the next level of soul is the neshama. The neshama is the intellectual component of a human being. And here, when we do a mitzvah, we have what's called kavanah, intent. When we do a mitzvah, the more we understand about what we're doing, the more of the reasons behind the mitzvah, the ideas, the concepts, the spiritual fundamentals of doing the mitzvah, the fuller the mitzvah is. So the mitzvah connects us to our intellect, and we put together our intent and the physical action that we're doing. Then there is the chaya. This is from the word chai, life. And the chaya is, we're getting to the more unconscious or supraconscious levels of the soul. And the chaya is connected to will. And we're taught that the mitzvot are a manifestation of God's will. His will for human beings. So when we do a mitzvah, we connect to God's will. And then on the highest level of soul, called the yechidah. The yechidah is the unique godly aspect of the soul, the highest level of soul, where we say that the divine soul is a chelak elokah mima'al mamash, an actual part of God above. And so on the level of yechidah, we are connecting directly to God. Now, in the other levels of soul, we're also connecting to God, but here it's on a very special connection where we feel that not only are we fulfilling God's will, but we are connecting to the essence of God. And so a quick review. Mitzvah means to connect. It connects us to the physical world that we live in, the material world through our physical actions and our speech. It connects us to our emotions. It gives us proper and healthy channels for rectified emotions to connect through the mitzvot. On the level of the intellect, a mitzvah connects us to deeper meanings of not just the mitzvah, but of life itself. The existential, philosophical foundations of what life is all about through doing the mitzvot. And then the mitzvah connects us not only to God's will, but our desire to fulfill God's will. As it says in Pirkei Avot, that we should make God's will our will. So at a certain point, they become identical. My will is God's will, and God's will is my will. And then on the highest level of the supraconscious, unique, godly aspect of the soul, a mitzvah connects us to the essence of our own soul, but in addition, a direct connection to God. That's why they say that the letters of the word Yisrael, when we change the shin, instead of a sh sound to a s sound, it's Yishar Kel, straight to God. And that's what the mitzvot do. They bring us in a direct contact with the Creator of all. So we should all be blessed that every time we do a mitzvah, to realize all of the connections that we're making, and it should connect all the levels of the soul and direct to the Creator of all.